It's sore, isn't it? Sir Alex Ferguson quipped upon announcing Pep Guardiola as the LMA Manager of the Year for the third time in midweek. Guardiola has inflicted numerous wounds on Manchester United they lack the bomb for. Guardiola's Barcelona was the only challenge Ferguson failed to conquer during his 26-and-a-half-year epic. The challenge has been on United's doorstep for 7 years now, and they are still powerless to truly overcome Guardiola and City. There have been derby victories to savour and a double in 2019-20, but United have never been City's superior during Guardiola's residency on Deansgate. Ferguson is culpable. United had a chance against Guardiola's Barca in the 2009 Champions League final, but not in 2011 after 2 years of underinvestment. Ferguson remained a staunch Glazer apologist until his final day in the dugout. He met Guardiola during his sabbatical in New York in September 2012 and advised him to give me a call when he was ready to return to management. Ferguson decided in December that season would be his last. A month later, Bayern Munich announced Guardiola would replace Jupp Heynckes in the summer. Going off the timeline, Ferguson was the one who should have been picking up the phone. So Ferguson went from someone who had won everything to someone who had won nothing. Whatever your misgivings, if any, about José Mourinho, he had to be the heir apparent in 2013. Yet Ferguson's ego was greater than Mourinho's. 10 years on, United have still not fully recovered from the chastening 10 months David Moyes lasted. Ferguson's triumphant legacy is not only tainted by Rock of Gibraltar but his role as kingmaker when he summoned Moyes to his home in Wilmslow. By then, City had already put the wheels in motion to ensure if Guardiola ever moved to Manchester it would be to the blue half. Now Guardiola represents what Ferguson used to: longevity and success. Repeated success. United have finished below City in the 10 successive seasons since Ferguson headed upstairs at Old Trafford in 2013. Only in 2016-17 could United argue they had a better campaign. Ironically for Ferguson, Mourinho was their manager. Ferguson will stride onto the Wembley pitch on Saturday to present the FA Cup final matchball with City great Mike Summerbee. For a stadium that arouses vivid memories for United followers, for Ferguson, the new build was host to his most bitter dosage of reality in 2011. They do mesmerize you, with their passing. He lamented a Barcelona's Champions League final stroll. They deserve it because they play the right way. Perhaps Guardiola will be the white whale too gargantuan for United to ever slay. Their best hope of finishing above City again might be when Guardiola ends his monopoly of the Premier League. Yet why would he? Guardiola is the figurehead as Ferguson was at United. He was never going to attain that level of influence at Barcelona or Bayern Munich. Great, historic clubs but teeming with egotists that make the training grounds as political as the White House. Guardiola does not have that at City. So irrelevant for so long United were referred to as Manchester on the continent. At Barcelona, Johan Cruyff would stick his oar in. At Bayern, there was Uli Hoeneß, Franz Beckenbauer and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. Guardiola is not going to be drained by the views of Paul Lake or Paul Dickov. Few coaches have the autonomy Guardiola enjoys. Ask João Cancelo. The City football director Txiki Begiristain was not behind Cancelo's exile to Munich. United have at least restored authority to the manager's role with Erik ten Hag. Whereas Ole Gunnar Solskjaer allowed Ferguson to intervene and change Cristiano Ronaldo's course from the Etihad to Old Trafford, Ten Hag cut Ronaldo loose. There are distinct similarities between Guardiola and Ten Hag beyond their hairless appearance. The pair were colleagues at Bayern, and Guardiola suggested Ten Hag as his possible replacement at City last year. They are represented by the same agency Guardiola's brother jointly runs. "I don't tell," Ten Hag replied when he was asked what set Guardiola apart. "It is obvious we have seen what he is doing. He is doing a brilliant job. What he can do is he can construct teams, not only winning teams but also winning in a very attractive way. So that is why we all admire him so." Ten Hag was relaxed on his final appearance of the season at Carrington on Thursday, whereas some United staff members seemed frayed over innocuous matters. This is arguably the club's most meaningful FA Cup final since 1996. Ten Hag bristled at the suggestion United's win against City at Old Trafford, when Bruno Fernandes clipped in a contentious equaliser, was fortunate. "I wouldn't explain it in that way because I have also seen the XG from that game and it was really our sides. What was the difference that day from the 6-3 shellacking at the Etihad 104 days earlier? The belief," Ten Hag stressed. "In the Etihad, we didn't show belief. In Old Trafford, we were determined to win this game from the first moment on. It is up to us that we show the same belief." Belief was the mosaic that greeted United players when they emerged for their Champions League semi-final second-leg win against Barcelona in 2008. A month later, Guardiola was presented to the Catalan media as Frank Rijkaard's replacement. Barcelona ended the season by beating United in Rome. That was sore for Ferguson, too.